Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our last episode of Single in the City. We are so excited to have you guys back. I'm your host, Genesis Moore, and along with my lovely co host, Miss Tiara Berry, coming to the screen. T, can you
I'm
believe
pouting.
this is
I'm
the
sad.
last episode? How did this happen so fast? We talked about so many things, got a lot of different perspectives. This has just been a beautiful experience that
Yeah.
we've gotten to map together our journey.
Yeah, I think that this has been kind of like a never-ending conversation, and I'm already excited about our second season and just ongoing and the conversations that will come out of conversations that we've had thus far. So it's a
Oh,
lot to talk
absolutely.
about when it comes to being single in the city, girl.
It's just like, is it ever going to end though? Do we ever get out of the streets? God, tell us now, please. But hopefully,
You
we
know,
get out of these
all
these
roads lead to
seasons.
heaven. I guess is the thing. All roads lead to heaven.
Hope. Let's hope. Because it's a lot of different things to talk about, especially when you're saying, being single. We talked about a lot of different topics, like, can you have it all? What
Yeah.
was another one of our topics we had? What is love?
Millennial marriage was a big one.
Millennial
Like
marriage.
was the past few weeks, not even just last week, but the past few weeks, and being able to get a guy's perspective and how they see love, how they see singleness, how they see being equally yoked. I mean, whew.
And it's very different that we got to introduce some different ideas from men that are men of faith, but definitely they have very different ideas within themselves, as
Yeah.
individuals. And I think that's so important. Like, that's the one thing that I've learned throughout this entire season is that everybody is their own person.
Mm-hmm.
People, they believe what's reality within their ears,
Right. Right.
whatever's in their head is their reality. And how you can never really fit into a person's fantasy. You can only just be
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You just pray and keep your spirit fed, keep
Right.
your
Right.
eye on God, keep your relationship with God strong. And then from there, prayerfully, the right person will come into your life.
Yeah. And speaking on being yourself, we also talked about taboo topics as it relates to the church and
Oh,
dating
that was
and relationships and where we might find ourselves having a good time at. I'm sure, based off of the comments, that was a very interestingly taken episode, but fun nonetheless, and I don't regret it.
so nobody from the church saw me there.
Hmm. They got good food. They got good food.
They
And then most
do.
importantly, what it means to be a high value single in Christ. I think that was how we kicked it off. And even as we sum up this season, just going back to that idea and how that could change for a person as they evolve in their singleness and as they date, as they get married, as they become family oriented, what it means to be a wife and a mother, that changes, but it all starts with, I think, the high value single is very independent. It's very one person oriented. And I think that if anything I've got out of this season is how important it is for us to see ourselves first independently from someone else, and how we see ourselves as Christ-like and as a child of God, and how God dwells within us. And I think that as we navigate the world, whether single or in a relationship, you always take that high value confidence or that high value self-esteem, or how you choose to present yourself to the world with with or without a partner. And I'm excited about the conversations we've had around that as well. Just what it means to evolve as a person.
And it looks different every day. Like,
Yeah.
I never said this during the season, but who you started off being maybe a year, 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, hopefully is not the same person that you are today. Hopefully there's a level of growth and maturity, and also a level of spiritual growth and spiritual
Yeah.
maturity. And in that, finding another person, like you said, that complements that brings out the best in you when it comes to those things is what's most important. Not just
Right.
settling for somebody because of I know we talked a little bit about the city girl effect, having all the like conversations and things about, you know, what a man has, what he can offer you, who he is, all that good stuff. But, you know, it's so much more than that when you're talking about building a life and when you're talking about
Mhm.
being a strongly firm planted person that is loving from a different place. And when we love
Yeah.
people as Christ loves us, that comes from a different place than worldly values could ever measure up to.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. It's been a
The
great
world
season.
can't
Look, we've
give
had some.
it. The world can't give it. The world can't take it away.
Oh, they can't. Look, we've had
Yeah.
some really good conversations and some things that we agree on and then some things that we always don't agree on, which has been interesting as well.
Right. Yeah.
So I got to ask you, like now after we've gone through the season, what's your views on marriage?
Do I
You think
still
you're gonna be like,
what
sure?
I do? I
Would you do it?
mean, I jumped the broom. I think I would. I actually was thinking from I think a lot of times for me, I've done a lot of things or said a lot of things from a not a place of fear, but from a place of unstableness and a
Mhm.
place of I feel like the heaviness of what marriage represents is like it's forever. And then when you think about
Yeah,
becoming a mother and having a family, that's forever too. Like you can't just say, I don't feel like doing this right now. And I think there's a
right.
comfortability of knowing in any relationship right now, I can walk away. And I think that as you become more stable, and I think that over the past, we've all evolved in a way over the past few months or weeks, I've mentally gotten more relaxed and calm just in life. And I think by
Yeah,
being more relaxed and calm within myself and not having like, I just feel like it's an ocean that was like a tsunami. And now the current's good, but I can see myself personally wanting to be like, you know what? A marriage and kids, that seems kind of cool because I'm confident in my ability to show up for the people that I would need to show up for, i.e., husband, kids, all of those
mhm.
things. So,
Yeah, that's
short
important.
answer is yes, I do aspire for marriage and children, but I think it's because personally I've grown to see that there is a way that you can create stability within your life, even though that might not have always been something that you had growing up. And you can't let that fear of how things were stop you from, the future that you might actually want.
I'm proud of you. That was good and very well said.
Thank you,
Very
girl.
well said.
Trying, doing
Yeah.
my best. What about you? I
That's,
know you want the white picket fence. I know you want that.
no, not really.
So
But
you changed and you changed.
I mean, okay. I never I've never wanted the white picket fence, even though sometimes it may come off that way, but I've never wanted that. Although I am very much so would like to be married, I am not rushing it. I am not actively out pursuing it. I am just in a place of understanding. I actually had a conversation with one of my best friends this weekend, and we were
Hmm.
talking about how you have to be in a space of waiting,
Yeah.
and when you're like in search of God's direction. And so for me, it's like, yeah, I have fun. I go out, I love to eat dinner, that's my favorite thing to do. I
Gotta
love a
eat.
good dinner.
Gotta eat
But
someday.
I'm not in a space where I'm like constantly always thinking like, oh, where's my man? Like, God, where's my husband? Like, give me my
Yeah.
husband. I'm not reciting and learning Sierra's prayer every night of the week. I'm not doing that. But I think I'm in a space where I'm so focused on me, my connection with God, what I've got going on, and where I want to be in my life in general, that, it just, not that I'm not making space for it, but it's just something that I feel should always flow to me, not
Yeah.
something that I feel like I'm going out and I'm in a hunt, I'm in a search for it. That's just my
Hmm.
personal opinion on it. I know some people feel differently, but nah, that's not me.
Yeah. No, I'm so happy you took the opportunity to repeat yourself because you had to say it louder for the people in the back. It is okay to be, a single in the city, focused on yourself, doing your own thing. And even though we don't have any male guests on the show today, I think that they would see or agree that it's more attractive. I think, I'm not a guy, but I think it's more attractive when you come across as a woman that not, oh, I don't need you, or I'm hyper independent, because I mean, that could be toxic too. I know that word
Yeah.
toxic is overused, but that could be toxic too.
Yeah.
But you're just someone that's very confident and okay in who you are, and where you are, that anybody who comes into your life is a compliment and not the necessity. And I think that that's beautiful. And I think that in a way, that's how God wants it to be, for us. There's so many independently strong women in the Bible. You think about stories of Ruth, and it's like sometimes things happen to the men that they loved, and they found their strength and their independence, and they're having to be on their own. And I think a lot of times that's not preached about or talked about enough, the beauty in that loneliness, in a way, like, even again, I don't know why Mary is just on my mind tonight, but there were some things that she had to go through and talk to with God when it came to bringing Jesus into the world and being his mother, that Joseph was just not gonna understand, or he had to send an angel to just be like, okay, look, it's cool. But it's a lot of things as women that we experience or go through independently of a man, in our life. And even if they're there, it's not everything for them to understand. It's a communication that we have with God as individuals, away from being someone's significant other, that I think is very important and impactful.
One thing that's come up in the midst of this pandemic is that people have been getting retrained, going into different careers, really making a pivot in the midst of a pandemic.
The advice I would offer to any young person that has started on a path, their pool, or they see some interest somewhere else, I would tell them, do not turn your back on that. I started off as a receptionist, $7.50 an hour. And I don't make $7.50 an hour now.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Looking at those areas of how you became who you became, and then looking at what were all the influxes that interfered with all of the stuff. We don't like to do that. That's too much work, Selena. Sometimes you have to take it in small pieces, in small fragments. You can't just run through it and say, okay, let's merrily do this work. It'll be fun. No, it's not fun work. It's painful. But we have to do it to get through it.
And I always say, like, if you don't know yourself, you don't love yourself, you don't think you're beautiful, you don't think you deserve. And sometimes we can, as women, say, like, oh no, I strongly feel like I deserve this, or I know I'm confident in this area. But it's like, it should never take someone else coming into your life to remind you of that. That should be something that you work to remind yourself of daily. And I think that's something that we also talked about this season, which was self-care. Emotional intelligence, like really spending time to get to know yourself. That is, to me, the highest of values. is when you find somebody that is very secure in who they are, and they are striving to be the best version of who they are, not just the people that are like, it's me, this how I'm always be. Don't try to tell me to do anything different. Like, if it offends you, then so what? But people that are like actively trying to be better people, actively trying to be better friends, how you treat your family, how you treat, your parents and your loved ones and your friends, and how you talk to people, how you treat strangers. I think all of that stuff is so important when it comes to figuring out your inner,
Yeah.
because you can be attached to somebody and they could bring out either the really good things in you, but also some of the very negative things in you as well. So it's just important to make sure that whatever you're connected to is a reflection and a bright,
Yeah.
shining light and magnifier of who's already on the inside of you.
Yeah.
So,
And you want to, and you have to keep up with those things, when it comes to self-care, because I was actually talking to a coworker today who's actually like, she's in her 40s, maybe 50s. So it's interesting. It's a lot of people in the dating pool right now having experiences amongst all ages.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in the dating pool, divorced. I don't know. It was a lot going on, but one of those times where you stop at somebody's desk to say, hey, and it turns into, let me tell you.
I've been looking for somebody to talk to all day.
Girl. So, she basically was saying how a guy was giving her a lot of attention in the beginning, and then, it's like hooked her in, and then now it's like, sometimes he texts in the morning, sometimes he only texts and he doesn't call, and the things that he was doing to get her in the beginning, he's not things that he's doing now. And I feel like I hear that all the time from friends and from my own situationships. It's that lack of consistency that's there in the beginning. And I think what you bring up when it comes to self-care is a lot of people in this life, relationship or not, friendships to familial relationships, they'll disappoint you and they won't always show up for you in the way that you want them to. But what we do know is that we can always show up for ourselves, and we do know that there's a God that will show up for us consistently. And I think that if somebody else isn't willing to show up for us, as long as we have that understanding of who we are and whose we are, it's easier to navigate those ebbs and flows of other people being in your life or not wanting to be in your life during certain times. And I think that's the beauty of being single, because it allows you to understand who you are separate from someone else, and what they do or what they don't do does not change how you should feel about yourself.
Well, I think that also keeping your routine. If you had a routine to, like me, I try to take good care of myself because I, want to be around for a long time, and I love me. So, I go to the gym 3-4 times a week. I try to get facials, once or twice a month. I try to, I need to book a massage. I get my nails done, my hair done, but I like stuff like that. But even in just your routine of the time that you spend with yourself, even if it's just reading a book, and you allow somebody to come into your life and you make that time seem optional. Like, either I'm going to devote it to my self-care time, or no, I don't need to do that today. I'd rather hang out with you. Sometimes that is a little remnant of somebody feeling that they can come into your life and have a little bit more freedom than they should. And I've learned that as I've gotten a little older in dating, as opposed to like my early 20s to now I'm like, 28, is very different, because I'm saying, no, this is my time in the morning where I have my devotional, and I'm not going to text you back during that time. I'm not going to answer the phone during that time. Or this is a time that I do something for me. It's important to me. It makes me happy. It's a part of my self-care, and it's something that I was doing before. And I think even when it comes to like, sex, I had a conversation with my friend about that. We're talking about sex on Single in the City.
Ooh.
But you know, there was a time where I had a friend where she was celibate before and then got in a relationship and that became optional. And even though I know that that was something that is sometimes a natural flow of a relationship, you know, we were having a conversation about, had you stayed in that vein of being the way you were when you met that person, or even, you know, holding some of the values that seemed important to you before you met this person and allowed them to come into your life, you know, what type of changes would that have brought when you guys have rough times? And then also just the basic respect level. You know, men, I don't know why they're wired like that, but it's like if you're too nice to them and you let them think that they could run all over you, you know, they will just run.
Let them slide, they ice skate. That's what I like to say.
Well, that was a great one. Give them an inch, they take a mile. But I mean, it's just little things like that. I think, especially for ladies that are high value women, you know, is maintaining that routine, maintaining your relationships with, you know, and it might be that you are like, you know, busy. Like I'm very busy, but you know, I make time for the things that I want to make time for. So it might be, instead of going, you know, out to eat with your girlfriends 5 times a week or 3 times a week, you know, you go once or twice, and then, you know, the other once or twice you spend that with the person that you're trying to get to know a little bit better, or making a plan to carve out certain times to be more social, but not giving so much so fast. And I think I learned that dating as a young Christian woman, that it's so easy for us to just be like, let me give you the shirt off my back. Let me give you my shoes. Let me give you all these things. And 'cause that's just how I'm wired. And that's just how I am. And I'm loving and I'm giving. And that's what I've been told a wife should be, or to get a partner should be. But I think better understanding, and the best way to be a high value single in Christ is to know that there are levels to the love, you know, which is why, even if we're taking it biblical, you know, I'm reaching here, but Christ was on this earth for 33 years. He didn't start off, you know, with huge miracles at the time. He started off in small things. It revealed itself over the course of time, over a lifetime, until the end of his life, where, you know, essentially, you know, we're talking about the resurrection and him dying on the cross for our sins. So off at 100. So I look at that and I say, even Christ's love had duration, period. You know, of how of the things that he did while he was on this earth. So even in like the love that I have, you know, or when you're showing it to another person, I think there should be a maturation period, not just a all in at 100.
Yeah,
that's too much.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have appreciated it as much had he just came down and just died straight. It would have been like, you know, but because you got a story, because you fell in love, because you got to see the smaller things, you know, and then it made you understood it better. And I know that, you know, it's maybe hard for some people to hear, but it's just the truth that you appreciate things better when you understand the story behind it.
R. Kelly, is he muted or canceled for you?
I'm not canceling TP2.com because that's my joint. I'm not going to be able to do it.
Look, we're going to get all in there today. I'm going back to church. Are you ready to get in the house, or are you ready to stay online?
I don't want to catch COVID. I'm ready, but I want to be safe.
Burnout in 2021, do you feel it?
I am going, like, not trying to get burnt out because I understand how it is. If you die today or tomorrow, your job description is going to be on somebody's Indeed.
prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Every discipline starts with creating a habit. Find a plan that works for you. I know you can put a reminder in your phone, call so-and-so in 30 days. You can't use the excuse that, oh, I'm an introvert or I'm an extrovert. You know, stuff people like to say. Nah, if you're not outgoing, right, you better get going, because that's the only way networking works.
You know, to your point, everything is a little bit better when you just take your time. Just take your time. I think, you know, a large part of being Christian women is when you, and it's like, don't worry about when don't worry about it. You know, let me navigate, you know, and let God be God for my life, you know, just like I let him be him for yours. And I think that it's a beauty, and you know, sometimes it does feel like you're waiting on someone, but even in the wait, it's not like you have to feel like I'm twiddling my thumbs and finger, you know, go out, live your life. Some people, it's not until they've been married for 10 years that they really miss being single. They really miss being able to get up and go. They really miss being able to, you know, not have to buckle kids in car seats. You end up missing things once it's gone, on both sides of the spectrum. You could end up missing a relationship when it's over. You could miss being single when you're married. And I think that on both sides of the token, there's good things about each. And I think that as we aspire to fall in love and be in love and find our soulmate and be equally yoked with someone, because it's beautiful. If it wasn't beautiful, it wouldn't be in the Bible, it wouldn't be in the scripture. We wouldn't, you know, have something to read and have Psalms and things to discuss about it. But I think at the same time, there's a flip side of everything, and you have to enjoy both sides of it, or at least be understanding of the beauty and the ugliness on both sides. So that way, in whatever season of your life you're in, if you're single or if you're in a relationship, you enjoy it more because you know what the opposite is like, and you know what you miss and what you don't miss. But I think that holistic understanding allows you to better navigate both chapters. And it's like, even if you feel like you're waiting, it's beauty in that. And it's not sitting at home with your bonnet on, feeling lonely. It's go out, have a good time, and get an appetizer, have some drinks, you know, like live your life and enjoy it, you know, at every stage.
Every stage. Because all we have is now. You know, we don't know what the future holds, and we can't drive ourselves crazy trying to change the past. That just won't happen. So, like, being present, that's one thing that I've really learned, I would say, this year. You know, I was just thinking about how much I learned about myself and relationships and, you know, friendships. And, you know, I know we talked about this early in the season, but like I came into the year with a relationship, and then that didn't last, and that was hurtful, and I had to heal and like do some reassessing. And even in that, I learned so much about myself, and I learned that, hey, maybe how I thought I was ready for certain things, I'm not. You know, maybe I need to sit back and enjoy myself a little bit more. Maybe I need to be a lot more focused on what does Genesis want as opposed to what everybody else wants, or what looks good, or what's cute on Instagram, or how everybody's getting married, how everybody's having these really cute babies and all this stuff, but living my life. And I think when we're so busy looking at other people like this, like, oh, what's that person doing? Oh, what's that person doing? It's like you get distracted and you start wanting their blessings. You start wanting the way that they got it. You start wanting things that aren't even meant for you, you know? And then you sit up and look one day and say you get all that stuff because, you know, you become what you think about most of the time. And you sit there and you're miserable because that wasn't the way it was supposed to go for you. It was different lessons in that. It was a lot of different things that you could have experienced in the meantime. And I'm just happy that we've had a really good, honest conversation throughout this season. We have talked about things that a lot of people, especially, you know, us millennials, don't normally talk about in front of, you know, older people, and how we kind of took the taboo off of dating when it comes to church. So I just want to say thank you. This has been an awesome season with you. Awesome.
No, thank you. I loved it. You guys, you were amazing. I think everybody, the guests that we had, our producers, everyone has just done a great job with down to our topics, to how insightful the conversations have been. And, you know, I love what you said, that it's about focusing on you right now. And I think that's a great way to wrap the season. And I did see a post, and it was like, don't be so, you're so concerned about Sierra's prayer that you don't even pray over your food. And it's like, remember to say grace. Remember to pray over your food. You know what I'm saying? Like, pray for yourself. Pray for your food. Pray for the hands who prepared it. You looking here, you looking left, you're looking right, and you're not even grateful, and you're not even thankful for the things that are right in front of you, like food. Yeah. So, you know, even though it was a really post, I really felt like it was timely, and it was good to think about, because a lot of times, like you said, we might pray for what someone else has, not realizing that what's in front of us is something to be just as grateful for.
Absolutely. That was beautiful. That was very beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to everybody. Huh?
I said, thank Justin LaBoy, if you guys follow him on Instagram.
He's the greatest. He might be a preacher on the low while you're playing, but and thank you to everybody that has been hitting us up on social media, sending in your thoughts, your comments, your questions. Thank you to all my friends that's been asking all these questions all season. All my invisible. But fun times. We had a lot of fun.
Yes, and I can't wait until next season. I'm excited. And I'm excited to see how we individually navigate relationships and situations. And we might look back and have totally different viewpoints from what we did when we first started. So I'm interested.
Hopefully between now and then, life would have, as my great-great-grandmother used to say, life will learn you. Hopefully by then, life would have learned us some great lessons.
Hopefully. Well, guess we'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode and our last of this season for Single in the City. Make sure that you keep commenting. Make sure that you keep reaching out to us. You can actually find me on my social handles if you guys are interested. Beware. At TheShaberry. My middle name, SHEABERRY. Genesis, do you care to share yours?
Oh yeah, mine is Genesis Music. For those that don't know, I'm really a singer, but I'm happy to be exploring my other talents as far as hosting this show this season. But mine is GenesisMusix. So Genesis Music. And also, guys, make sure y'all watch old episodes too. We got a lot of replays coming your way. Share with your friends. I guess if we put this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, like, comment, all that good stuff.
All that. Keep tuning in to Hope TV. Oh, and again, happy holidays. We forgot holidays is coming up. So if you boot up, good for you. If not, pray over your food before you eat at Thanksgiving. been a great season. I enjoyed it, and we will catch y'all next time.